Hi everyone, my name is Jennifer Mistmorgan and I am here on Wednesday to read an excerpt from my new release, The Mapmaker's Secret. Now, this is World War II romance and it's perfect for you if you like novels by Sarah Sundin or Rosanna White. We're about to meet my hero, Jack Marsden, who is a US Army intelligence officer who's working at an RAF, Royal Air Force photographic interpretation facility that's housed at what used to be a grand estate of a family. It's been requisitioned by the Air Ministry from the family of my heroine, Grace DeRoy. Jack works in photographic intelligence, but he's been given a secret job by his commanding officers and also MI5, and that is to find out whether Grace, who also works at the facility, is leaking secrets to the enemy. Jack's not very good at this, so he needs all the help that he can get. And his handlers have sort of set up a meeting with Grace at the Savoy Hotel. So we'll see how it goes. Oh, I should also tell you that Jack is a widower. All the arrangements were outlined in the papers Wilson had given Jack. His cover story was simple. A professor from his medical school had heard that Jack was in England and wanted to meet him for dinner at the Savoy. Jack was to wait for him in the lobby at 6:45 and accidentally run into Grace. During the "what an amazing coincidence" conversation, a doorman would produce a note saying the professor had telephoned to say he was too ill to make the dinner, at which point Grace would effortlessly invite him to dine with her family. It all seemed too easy, outlined in the note. He was sure it couldn't possibly be that smooth. Except it was. Only one thing hadn't gone to plan. The way his heart leapt out of his chest at the sight of Grace DeRoy in an evening gown. He'd waited in the foyer, pretending to read the evening newspaper while keeping an eye out for Grace. Every time the elevator announced its arrival with an energetic ping, he glanced up. The newspaper had dropped the same way his jaw did when the opening doors revealed Grace in a floor-length emerald green dress. It made her look like a goddess from one of the stories he'd read as a kid about Greek mythology. Perhaps it was the way the fabric draped across her torso and gathered at her hip with some kind of ruche or tie before it fell to the ground. Or maybe it was the gold jewelry that made her look regal. Or the sophistication in the way she walked, like she was exactly where she belonged. She was breathtaking, literally. "Go to her," whispered a voice in his ear, one he hadn't heard in 4 long years. Dottie's voice. He jumped out of his chair and dropped the newspaper, glancing around like a madman, frantic to see where the voice had come from. He calmed. There was no Dottie. Of course there wasn't. But there was Grace, and she was coming his way. This was not the accident he had been planning. "Lieutenant, are you all right? You look like you've seen a ghost." Close, but not quite, he thought. Heard one, maybe. "I'm here to see a friend." He barely got the words out. "But then I thought I saw someone else." "Do you know someone staying here?" she inquired politely, but giving him an odd look. "Get a grip, Jack. There's no such thing as ghosts." "A professor of mine is in town, actually. He wanted to meet me here for dinner." The porter arrived on cue. "Excuse me, sir. Are you Lieutenant Marsden?" Jack nodded, knowing what was coming next. "I'm afraid Professor Adams just called. He's feeling unwell this evening and won't be able to make it for dinner. He sends his apologies." "It looks like you've been stood up, Lieutenant," Grace said. "Would you like to have dinner with my family?" There it was, as easy as they said it would be. "Are you asking if I want to walk into that restaurant with the most beautiful woman in London on my arm?" Grace glowed at his compliment. "Yes, Lieutenant, I suppose I am." "Then absolutely I do." tonight might not be so bad after all. You can get the Mapmaker's Secret now at all the bookish places, and find me on Instagram at jennifermistmorgan.com.